renamed the class before this, so don't be alarmed. This is what you guys signed up for. We are going to be doing smart plans, and we're going to be going through how to set those up and how to implement them in your business. And so for those who don't know me, I'm just some guy from Alabama that was an MCA and did technology stuff here in the Southeast region and moved into the RTT position. I've been with Keller now for 3 years, been working in real estate and admin roles about 10 years. I used to work for a balloon-shaped franchise for a number of years, and Keller Williams has pretty much changed my life. And I mean, I'm a completely different person since I've been here. It's not just the job opportunities, it's also the growth opportunities. And so I'm big about KW. And so when the technology started coming around, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to get involved in it. And that's kind of how I ended up where I'm at. And so it's a neat company, lots of opportunities for a guy who came in through the side doors, a graphic designer at a competing brokerage. It's really neat to be able to be here today with you guys and be able to present this kind of material to y'all, be a part of this journey. So first of all, we're gonna work on 4 key things today. So we're gonna make sure that this isn't necessarily straight up smart plans, but it is connected to everything else. So we want to make sure your app and your connected, like your consumer app and your connected apps are actually connected within Command. And then we're going to make sure that you add yourself to 4 essential smart plans. The reason I say add yourself to them is so that you will feel more comfortable about what you're sending out. It's good to see how it works in implementation. We're also going to get into the library, the Smart Plans library. We're going to download some Smart Plans. You don't necessarily have to download Smart Plans we look at, but I want to show you guys how that works. And then we're going to actually build a Smart Plan of your own from scratch. So does that sound good? All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So like I said, today's a workshop. So for best results, follow along, which is what we want you guys to do. I want you to leave today having done something, not just having learned something. That there always seems to be that disconnect between, oh, I learned all this cool stuff, and then you go back, you get busy, you have clients call you, you have showings, it ends up not getting done. And so I don't want that to be us today. All right, so first of all, of course, you're going to want to log into your agent.kw.com. And I'm going to do it on my end so you guys can actually see what this looks like. And I'm going to use one of the RTT demo accounts for this. Okay. Now this right here is actually the particular account I logged in under is a team account. So for you guys who are on Teams, this may look a little bit familiar. For those who are not, you won't have this little drop down menu where you can select between the different accounts. It's totally fine. If you are in a team, what we're going to want to do first is we're going to want to click on the team, of course, on the top, and we're going to want to go to the personal account for that. Reason being is, although they do have team smart plans and campaigns and all this that are rolling out, for the most part, smart plans are, they're only halfway teamified. So it is best to handle them on a personal individual basis. Now, if there is any team admins on here, you can run team smart plans with assignees. And if you want to talk later about that, I'd be happy to sit down with you and walk you through all that. But for the scope of today's discussion, we will not focus on team smart plans as much. So just make sure that you're selected if you're on a team as your personal. And then, of course, we'll go to settings. And there's some critical things you're going to want to make sure are connected on any account that you have, no matter really what you're doing in Command. So we have, and hang on, let's see whose account. Okay, it is not good. It's not mine. Okay, so you can see on here that there's 2 Facebooks, and these are going to be in different places because they're actually located further down if it hasn't been connected. One is for post scheduling, which is automation. And the other one is for ads management, and that's going to be for your campaigns portion. So if you guys want to run Facebook ads, you have to hook that up through the ads manager. Of course, you're going to want to have your, it's going to be your personal Facebook account is the one that you connect when you connect over here. However, it'll let you select your business page when you actually do the various different actions. DocuSign, if you guys are using it, of course. Twitter, we don't worry about quite as much. You want to make sure your Google Calendar and your Gmail are connected. Google Calendar really isn't going to do too much right now other than under contacts, it lets you create a calendar event. But Gmail will give you feedback for when you send out smart plans for if you have contacted a particular contact recently. So it's easier to figure out who you've talked to recently and who you haven't, because Gmail will actually keep track of emails that go back and forth between the two of you. Yes, you should be in your own command, playing along. PySync is a cool function. However, if you're not as much of an advanced user, I would reference that to your Market Center tech trainer or reach out to me and I can help you through PySync, because PySync connects to third-party apps, and sometimes people have like 10,000 contacts in their phone and they'll connect it to command and it can kind of cause some issues in your database. And of course, Microsoft Office, if you have some other email client. Couple other things to note: Google Adwords. You can run Google Adwords through command. However, if you ever run Google Adwords through command, and this is aside from smart plans, but I just want to mention it, you have to use a Gmail account that is not a KW Gmail account. So you have to just use like a standard whatever @gmail.com account for that. Google Adwords is not part of KW's G Suite. And then of course you have your command email, which is very much part of smart plans. And by default, it's going to give you 5,000 emails that it can send out every single month. And you can buy more of those through the marketplace. So you can just hit manage subscription, go into the marketplace, and then you can pick, 10,000, 15,000, whatever, for what you want to upgrade to. For most people, 5,000 is probably going to be enough depending on the size of your database. And it means like number of emails sent. So if you have 100 contacts and you send them 10 emails a month, that becomes 1,000 emails. If you have, 1,250 contacts and you send them 4 times a month, that's going to be 5,000. So it's the number of emails. And I believe MailChimp operates kind of in the same way. They've got like a contact thing, but then they've also got number of emails. And so you can upgrade that. It is not required. Then of course, when you're in here, this is an important thing to note on the command email, is that you want to make sure your reply is set correctly. So when people receive an email from, say, a smart plan or one of your campaigns inside of command, they're going to receive it from it's a special Keller Williams email, but when they reply to it, this is where you set your reply to. So it's going to have your white pages and your recovering your marketing profile emails in here. You can add another custom email. I would just use whatever your most often used email is, so that when they receive that, if they reply to it, it comes back to you and it's easier for you to carry that conversation, not miss anything. This is same reply to kind of thing that you would have with MailChimp or Constant Contact or Emma or any of the other email marketing platforms that are out there. Do you guys have any questions about the reply to?
Yeah, I have one question on the reply to. If, are you going to cover Twilio and the email and the text?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we'll cover Twilio.
All right.
Which that's actually what we're covering next. And actually, let me skip over to my command so I can show you guys what Twilio looks like after it is set up. So like this is just my personal command right here. When I go under settings, we go down the bottom, we have Twilio. Mine is currently active. So if I text from anybody right now, it's going to be coming from that 205 number. If I go into manage, it's going to show me how many credits, which you can see I haven't used any of my credits right now. I can always manage subscription and go set up more credits, and I can also set up call forwarding. So one of the cool, for instances, that you can do with Twilio and call forwarding is, say you have a, say you've got, well, you could always forward it back to your cell phone, whatever your cell phone number is. But let's just say you have a group, maybe not necessarily a team, but if it was a team of 5 people that may potentially be getting calls from these replies, you could use like a Google Voice account. You can use other services to reroute from there so that it doesn't just go to one place, and you can set that up at any time. Costs like, I believe it's, let's see, what is it? Yeah, it's 6 credits a minute. And so if you're getting a call back from your lead, it's totally worth being able to spend those credits to have that conversation with them, to be able to get their information, follow back up later. Does everything make sense on the setup? Did you guys have any questions about any of these particular things? I know this is very basic stuff. I just want to make sure that this is covered before we go any deeper. Okay, cool. You guys are a quiet crowd. Do I need to send Starbucks out to the market center? Would that help? Or wherever, from wherever you guys are remoting in from? I see some folks at home. All right. Okay. So the other thing, of course, we have that we want to make sure that we connect is your consumer. So, or rather, let's go to marketing profile first on that. So, if you have never set up your marketing profile, you're going to want to take care of this, because some of the email campaigns and your consumer app and your website, all those sorts of things are actually going to pull from this marketing profile. You've got basically 3 profiles inside of KW, and it can get really confusing because of this. I guess technically you have 4, but let's just keep it simple. Yeah, let's keep it simple with 3. So marketing profile is your consumer facing one. Your connect profile is your agent facing one, like within Keller Williams. And then you also have a white pages profile, which is something different inside of KW. So you want to make sure that your marketing profile is set up. You've got a photo in here. Of course, if you don't have any photo editing software, you can always toss it in something like Canva. You may even be able to edit it on like an iPhone app before tossing it in here. Command, you can open it on iPhones and it works okay, but it works really well on iPads and tablet devices. So it'll run just fine. It doesn't necessarily have to be an app. You can just go to the website. So we got your photo, 360 by 360. You've got a slot for team logo. If you're not on a team, don't upload a logo here. This is just more of a cautionary tale. It is a strange bug that is on the list to get fixed. And if you upload a team logo up there, you can't get rid of it. So the fix for it, if you do by accident, is you can put a blank white image in there. However, it will add a white block to your marketing materials. And so if you haven't done it, don't touch it. Of course, you're going to want to put your correct details in there. We want to make sure that is all correct. Any additional bio, all your brokerage information. Your market center can get you a copy of your logo. You can get it off kw.com, but it's easier to get it from your market center typically. And then, of course, whatever legal footers you need for your particular area. The standard is each office is independently owned and operated. However, there may be more requirements. Always consult your broker on that. I don't pretend to know everybody's state requirements. And then legal footers, if that's necessary. I don't think that's necessary for you guys to have to attach a document or anything like that. Then you can add your social. Now down here, you have your KW branded app link. And so let me ask you guys then, raise your hand if you have your KW app set up, your consumer app. Okay, I see some hands.
It has obviously been so long, I'm not even sure if it's set up anymore, Patrick, from when it originally rolled out to now. I don't even remember.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a good thing to know. So they've made a lot of improvements on it since it first came out. There were definitely some stability issues. You guys probably had some MLS, like duplicates and stuff like that they had to work through. And I think they've gotten most of that cleared up. So, so there's different people say different ways to set up the consumer app to get your app link. I will tell you the way that I feel like works 100% of the time. And so you got your phone. If you haven't set this up before, first of all, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go over to consumer. You're going to want to set up your agent website if you haven't. Basically, all you have to do is put the bare minimum information in here. But if you have a web address up here, when you are on the consumer, you're good to go. You don't even have to. You don't have to worry about this next step. But what we're going to do is we're just going to basically run through the setup wizard, and then you're going to download your own app if you haven't already to get that code. I find that the app link is easier to get from the app because it also tests that you are searchable within the app, and you have to be searchable within the app for it to work. So sometimes people will find their app link in here, but then for some reason they'll be set as private on white pages, and then you can't search somebody on the app doesn't connect. So make sure that we're good on that. But I'll tell you, you just go to your KW consumer app, and I have right here on the final tab on there where it says more on the bottom right, you hit find an agent. You're going to search for yourself. So let's just do it as a test. I'll search for you, Laura.
I have a long URL underneath my mobile app site. It's not concise like yours. It's really long, but it is there.
So that is what's on my screen right now is my web address, not my app link.
Okay.
So I'm going to connect with Laura. So she's actually probably going to get a notification inside Command in her notification center that somebody has connected with her. And I actually have her now set as my agent. Once you have set yourself as the agent, when you do share my KW app, it will give you the app link. It's kind of hard with the lighting for me to get it, but in the center here, it'll say the app link, and you're able to copy that out, and you're going to want to save that somewhere. Anytime you want to share it, you can use that app link.
And you can't use the app link that's in the middle of on the consumer. There's no other place that it's saved, that app link for you in
it will. There is a couple of other places it may show up, and typically it works. However, the reason I said like this, I like doing it through the app, is to make sure that you're searchable. If you're not searchable, you can get an app link that won't work, essentially.
Hmm.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
this is
go ahead.
Katie Nichols. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Okay, so I have my little code on in Command, fine. But
Okay.
if I go to my app, it just asks me to either sign up or log in, and there's like a little X up there. So if I X out of this, and then if I want to search for do the more and want to find an agent, it asks me to log in again. Do I need to log in using my Command credentials? No.
No, so
Okay.
you're a consumer. So when you get
Okay.
when you get in the mobile app for the first time, you're the consumer. And
Okay.
just so you just use like another email account you have or something like that. And
Totally.
so when you actually sign up for your own app, you're going to become a contact in your command. If the loop correctly works, I guess if I can get my words right. If the loop correctly works on the end to end, as soon as you sign up and then you set yourself as that, you're actually going to become a contact in your own command as that consumer. Air
Okay.
quotes.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
what we need to do. We all need to be
Okay.
our own contact.
Yeah, you have to sign up for your own app. You just don't use command, and that's. I don't know if it was a miscommunication, but I've had that question a lot. People are like, "Oh, my command login doesn't work here." Well, it's not supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah. You're
Perfect.
your
Thank
own client in this.
Awesome. Thank you.
Patrick,
Yeah, go ahead.
not trying to slow you down, but can you start over on the setting up your app part? Like if I haven't set up an app, where do I go in command?
Yeah, so first of all, you're going to want to make sure you go to this consumer tab here and make sure that you have gone through your website setup. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to at least have been done, or the consumer app won't activate. Because essentially the website and the consumer app are the same thing, just one of them is in an app form, the other one's in a website form. And so you go into this consumer tab, and actually anytime you're in command, if you get lost, the little KW up here does that cool little fly out and tells you the name of them. So down here on consumer, you click on that. You just go to agent site pages, and you can say site and or configure your site, or you can go to site and app settings to get to it as well. And you just follow the little wizard. I want to use my KW site. You don't have to do anything special on this. You can literally just say get started, acknowledge, confirm domain, just save and continue, save and continue, save and continue. You just have to have at least gone through this one time. And then once that is complete, oh, there's my picture. And by the way, the information that pulls into this website is going to come from your marketing profile as well. Once this is complete, you just open the consumer app.
All right.
Oh, hang on a second. You open up the consumer app. Let me take Laura back off of it for example's sake. Let's see. Remove agent. So on that last tab of the consumer app, all the way on the bottom right, it's kind of hard for, let's see if it won't adjust.
How do I find my consumer app on my phone?
Just go to KW. Just search for KW in the App Store, and it should be the only thing that comes up. It is a white and red app. Now you will only be searchable if you are set as public in white pages and you have an agent role in white pages. So unfortunately, I do not have a consumer app because I'm I'm not an MCA, I'm an RTT now. So that's what my role in white pages is. And then once you get inside the app, you just sign up. You know, whatever you as the consumer would want your login to be. You go to more, you find an agent, and then you search for yourself, which I keep holding this up. It's kind of hard to see it on here anyway, but you search for yourself. Once you find yourself, you just say, this is my agent, and then it's branded. To answer the chat question, let's see, hang on a second. So if I already see my photo, does that mean my app is branded? That is correct, yes. So I always say test it with someone who you've never sent the app for.
Patrick, this is Drew in the Decatur office. Thanks so much for doing this.
Absolutely.
On the app here, I was able to search for Drew Newman and I found myself. I can say connect, but isn't this my app where it should already, like if I text somebody, say, hey, check out my app, you can start using this. Isn't my branding already going to somehow be on there?
Correct, yeah, so when you send them that app link, now that I don't have an agent on there, where it has the share the KW app, on that last tab under other, yep. It'll have that, it'll make the app link, you know, like kwri.applink.com/ and it has a code. That code, when they download it in the App Store, will download it directly with your branding.
Okay, but otherwise there's no, I guess I'll just have to play around with the app to see that somehow my branding is going to come through here. Okay. If I
always say, send it to a friend, send it to a loved one, somebody like that, have them download and test it. And if it doesn't work, you guys reach out to me and I'll make sure that gets fixed by support, because that is how it is designed to work.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, my pleasure. All right, cool. So, all right, so we're pretty much connected on marketing profile, consumer, and connected apps. Like I said, if you guys have any issues with this after the fact, feel free to reach out to me and we'll troubleshoot any of those other pieces. It's important to have the whole loop closed because there's some different things I go into, especially with the connected apps. You know, we're going to want to be able to send emails and things like that and send automated text, which are all part of Smart Plans. So I know you guys came for Smart Plans, not necessarily in Command 101, but I want to make sure you guys are covered. All right, so why do we have smart plans? And it's essentially because there's a timeline to every contact. So you lead generate with them, you have follow-up, and you have contract close. I know that Jason Abrams talks about this all the time. He shows the little squiggly lines between the highest level of interest and the lowest level of interest for someone buying a house. When they're buying a house, they're most interested, and that time in between is the lowest. And so it's about catching people in those different phases and being present. So when you first meet somebody, we're talking about like 8x8s or 8 to cement. You know, getting in relationship with that person and making sure that they know who you are since the first time that you make contact with them, whether that be as a lead with a one-way conversation or as a contact with the two-way conversation you've had with this particular person. Then of course there's a follow-up. Hey, I'm interested, but you know, it's going to be like 3 months before I decide to make a change. Or, I mean, for all of us right now, there's such little inventory. Man, I don't know. I mean, I could sell and get top dollar, but, you know, and so staying in that relationship and following up. And then of course, contract to close, there's always opportunities for smart plans and contract to close as well. I think that there's even more opportunity at post-transaction that is wildly untapped by a lot of real estate agents and brokerages and just the whole industry. I think we think very transactionally at times, and that's to our own detriment because leads are expensive to generate. And, you know, what would it look like if you didn't have to generate leads? If you were able to build strong enough touch plans that your 500,000 contacts or whatever fed you for the rest of your life. I mean, that would be pretty amazing. And we like referral business, right? So post-contract follow-up's a big thing. We want to stay in relationship and have value-driven conversations. And the question that Jason Abrams had actually said this a while back, and it was one of those things that has stuck with me, is what can you do for your clients post-transaction such that by not doing it, they would be disappointed? So, you know, recipe cards, y'all remember those? Any of y'all ever did recipe cards? I mean, that was like one of the big direct mail things. As a consumer, would you feel bad if you didn't get a recipe card in the mail? You probably wouldn't miss that your realtor didn't send that to you. And some people may miss that they don't get the football schedule. I know plenty of people still do those. However, and this is just a total for instance I had a while back, is let's say after you close with somebody, for the next 3 years, you buy air filters for their house. They don't have to be expensive ones. They don't have to be the fanciest ones, but they could even be the 3 to a pack you get at Walmart. And every 3 months or 6 months or whatever time period you determine, they get those drop shipped to their house with a little note from you that says, you know, I really appreciate the fact that you did business with me, and you know, just a nice referral comment, right? You think they would miss it if their air filters stopped showing up a year later? So I'm not telling anybody a specific thing to do. I'm just saying, think about that. Like, what would they miss? And I know the neighborhood nurtures have worked really well, depending on the areas and depending on the neighborhood lines. However, what information, what value can you bring them in that? So we talked about 8x8 kind of. That's not as much my specialty here, but 36 touch. You really need you need smart plans to be able to do it effectively. I know some of you guys have huge databases, and when you've got 5,000 people in a database, getting on the phone and smiling and dialing is pretty challenging. You may not be able to get around to everybody all the time, and you hate to miss out on any opportunities you can. So, so a couple of things there that we have, of course, is quarterly call plan. Now, I talked about calling 5,000 people. That may be a little too much. Let's say you've got 1,000 people in your database. That still is pretty manageable as far as calling in a 12-month period. If you have 500, you can pretty easily call them once a quarter. So there's a quarterly call smart plan that's going to remind you to call them every quarter. And anybody that does like the DTD2, that's essentially what that plan does. It's just, this is just breaking it down into into a smart plan. And then of course we have neighborhood nurtures. So has anybody been using those for their clients?
Yeah, I use them. They're really good. You know, been using them throughout the fall. Then there was a little glitch during December and January where they didn't go out, but now they're going back out again on schedule, and it's great. And as long as you have all your database, all your clients set up with a neighborhood and on the neighborhood nurture smart plan, it goes out and it's really good. It's a great monthly. Well, I don't really. Yeah, it's a monthly. Mine is monthly. I tried the bi-weekly and it's too much. But the monthly is a great monthly touch. It's a good 12 direct touch.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. So when I talk about the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, you don't have to go bi-weekly. You can do like Rick and go once a month. It's just I would recommend you have some sort of other supplemental touch. You just want to hit them 2 times a month digitally in some way. Give them something different. Neighborhood nurture is a great, great thing. So 4 essential smart plans. You guys are going to want to set these up for yourself because we want to see what they look like. And so we're going to set up with the biweekly neighborhood nurture. We're going to do a quarterly call plan. We're going to do birth rate and birthday reminders and home anniversary. Home anniversary, of course, if you're working with a buyer that hasn't bought with you before, that may be a little difficult to send them a home anniversary because you don't know when they moved in. They may still be in an apartment. However, the rest of the information we can send them. So first of all, if you've never used smart plans before, you're going to hit the little KW flyout there, and we're going to go down to smart plans, which is the kind of like gear with a line, kind of a checklist thing. And you're going to see that we have people plans here. This is basically, these are your smart plans that are under my smart plans, published or anything that you have shared with the community, which we have a really cool community of smart plan builders. And then there is library. If you've never been in smart plans before, this is empty and it's supposed to be empty. This right here are just the smart plans that I am running. You can see that it's got a little eyeball next to it. It says contacts. That's the number of people on that smart plan so that you can easily look at that. And from this same control panel here, you can add people to smart plans as well. Let's say that it is on that biweekly neighborhood nurture. I wanted to add the smart plan and I wanted to do it by a tag I had in my database. I only have one person with this tag. It's my wife. And there she is. I could add her to the smart plan. I could start now, I could stagger it. I could start on a separate date if I wanted. There's a lot of different ways to get people onto smart plans. It's going to show the basic steps of the smart plan, send email, that's the neighborhood nurture email, delay 14 days, repeat. If this was the monthly, it would just say delay 30 days.
So Patrick, what were your 4 again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the neighborhood nurture. So
Anniversary, okay.
yeah.
Good. Yeah. Are you doing any Facebook ads where you have a smart plan when the lead is dumped into the database?
So, so Facebook ads aren't connected to smart plans right now. However,
well, you can create one that you can, yeah.
You could do the tags. So when the lead comes in, you add the tag and it adds into smart plan.
Yeah.
100%. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. Okay. We'll go on to the library. So we've basically got 2 libraries. We've got the public library, which is going to be agents and tech trainers and all kinds of people in Keller Williams. They're the ones who, all this stuff down at the bottom and anything you search up in the smart plans. And then of course you have the Keller Williams smart plans. And there's a lot of good ones in there. Of course we have the neighborhood nurture. We have an 8x8. We have a quarterly call plan, midterm nurture, long-term birthday, monthly neighborhood, open house, follow-up, home anniversary, promote my app, all these things. Any of these that you So essentially, a smart plan is just automation. All it is like it's a set of instructions. It's some rules. It's going to be do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And so anytime that you're looking at other people's smart plans, you can always go through and view steps and see what those steps are. So we've got like send SMS. So that'd be like a Twilio step. Delay 7 days, touch task, interaction with target. That's going to give you an actual task for you to do manually. Delay 7 days, phone call, that's a manual task. Delay 7 days, automated text. Delay, add to smart plan, and this has monthly neighborhood nurture. So every once in a while you'll see inside of a plan, it'll say, it'll have another plan, it'll say add to smart plan, and that's what that is. And then delay. So this whole list here is all the steps that are included in that smart plan. Takes place over 56 days. There's 15 steps and 8 touches. This one does not repeat. So that's just an example for the 8x8. Now, for any of these smart plans that you want to add, like I said, biweekly neighborhood nurture. We wanted to add biweekly neighborhood nurture, quarterly call plan, birthday reminders, and home anniversaries. And to do so, all you do is click Add Smart Plan. And essentially what this does is it takes a copy of it from Keller Williams database and brings it into your personal command. That's the reason they use the term download, which I felt like was kind of it, and I can't download it because I already have it downloaded. But you're essentially downloading it to your personal smart plans at this point. So I'll give you a second to, I'll put those up on the screen, give you guys a second to make sure that y'all have those downloaded in your personal library. All right, when I get a few thumbs up, we'll keep on moving.
So Patrick, when I typed in home anniversary, I ended up with like, there are 8 or 12 different home anniversary smart plans.
Okay, let's take a look at that. I'm sure some other folks have built some. So, if I can spell today.
So I just put home and then I put space ANN.
Okay, so let's go to library. And it might be because I had it under just the, yeah, that's what it was. So it's going to be the one that says home anniversary that says author Keller Williams.
Okay.
We've got some different ones. Let's see, home anniversary, no mail outs, home validation, no. My home anniversary. Send a gift card. Delay, phone call. Yeah, oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, DJ.
So here's my question. I downloaded some of these basically a year and a half ago, and when I try to edit them, it says this is a reference smart plan. You cannot edit it, and that was kind of a surprise to me. I thought if I made a copy of anything from the Keller Williams library, I could do whatever I wanted with it. Is that not true?
Not at this point. That is on the feature list. It just has not been built out yet. So, so if you like the smart plan, you may want to just kind of write the steps out and just when we go through the steps on how to create a smart plan, you could rebuild that same smart plan with your own, using it as like an inspiration point, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So is there a way to tell when you're looking at the library whether it's a reference one that is not editable or whether it is editable before you download it?
Anything you pull out of the library is not going to be editable as far as I know. Let me double check on that, because let's see, most of mine I made myself. Hang on a second. Let's just test.
All right.
I never want to give you guys bad information, and there's always the best way to do it is just test. So here's George Kelly. He's another RTT, cool guy. Oh wait, no, that's got a smart plan nestled inside of it. Let's use a different one. Here, I'll just use this one. My 555. Because I'm curious now. So it's letting me edit this one,
Right. I think
but I'll
there's,
tell you, I think I know what's causing that, because somebody the other day had that same question. Is it a specific smart plan you tried to edit?
I just lost it. It's the long-term nurture. And maybe it's because I downloaded it in October of 2019. So it's a long, long time ago. And for some reason it's locked now. And I was under the impression that I had in the past, download whatever I wanted and edited most of them. And then suddenly some of these are not editable anymore.
Okay. And it could be something like that. My long-term nurture. Hang on. You may want to just try re-downloading it. I know if they have contacts associated with them, you cannot edit them. But I don't think that's the case in yours. Because I just took my excuse me. I just took my long-term nurture and downloaded it, and it let me go into edit. I don't know, let's try changing something and hit save. Make sure it's not. It's letting me save it.
Well, it's not even that. You hover over the pencil and you get this error message that says, this is a reference smart plan and cannot be edited. I know what you're saying about having people active in the plan. You can actually edit certain things, but you can't add steps. You can do like a handful of things, but not really edit it.
Okay.
So I was just curious, just as an FYI, if it comes up again, some of these give that message and for some reason are not editable at all.
Okay. Well, I know it's definitely that came up with the team the other day because they were sharing smart plans between themselves and they kept getting that reference part, but I have not been able to recreate it myself. So that's been my challenge to try to figure out what is actually causing that. Haven't been able to recreate it. So I would probably just try re-downloading the smart plans, maybe delete the ones that are in your library that you're not using,
right?
That are causing that, and then re-download them and see if it works.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Because I am wondering if that is something from, if it was an earlier smart plan, but then I don't know. We can go down a rabbit hole on that one. All right, so is everybody good now? Y'all ready to move on to the next portion? Unless anybody's got any other questions. I want to make sure I'm going quick enough for you guys, but at the same time that I'm keeping up with y'all. So if I'm going too quick for anybody, y'all just let me know, because I want to make sure that you guys get as much as you can out of this today. Okay. All right, so here's the 4 smart plans. So we did bi-weekly, that's a mouthful, bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. It has a lot of ends in it. Quarterly call plan, birthday reminders, and home anniversaries. Like I talked about earlier, there's a couple different ways that you can add people to smart plans. Right here in the smart plans applet, you can click on any of the add contact. If you're looking for a specific person, you could type them in. That is one of the ways to do it. However, if you want to add multiple people at a time, typically the best way to do it would be to do tags. Tags are a great way to keep your database organized. You can, as far as I know, you can have as many tags as you want. I probably wouldn't have like 1,000 tags in my database, but every time you have an open house, I don't see any reason not to create a tag for the people who came to that open house, so that if you were marketing back later on. So
how do you create a tag?
I'm sorry?
So how do you create a tag?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so there's several different ways, just like there's several ways to create smart plans, there's several ways to create tags. The simplest way to create a tag is actually within the contact card itself. Okay. So let's say that we just met somebody today. And we'll just give him, let's call him Jason Brown. And we got his phone number, Jason at jb.com. We can go down here to where tags are at, and then we could say, let's say it was at an open house, and we weren't manually putting this in, but it was an open house, and we could just say open house, and it was on, let's see, what's today's date? The 23rd, 23rd. And then I could say create custom tag. It's gonna change what the tag window looks like right there. I could pick a color. Let's say I make all my open houses red. I hit add. Now I've created a tag for this contact, OH. You know that, and that for just my code for like open house, and then it's for 2/23/2021. Create that contact. Now, actually, when we search for Jason, he'll have that tag on there. If I were to go back to smart plans, and I could pick any of the smart plans, and we could say open house. Oh wait, hang on. Let's open tags, and let's see. You could find that tag for open house. Yep. 2/23/21. There's going to be the contact that we met. So it'll be really easy to add them to, say, like a follow-up plan on that. Now, to what Rick was talking to earlier, when we create smart plans, we can create tag triggers so that when people are tagged with a particular tag, they will automatically be added to a smart plan. So that is something we'll go over here in a minute. It's a really cool and powerful feature. I have, when new Market Center tech trainers join the region, I go in, I add them as a contact. I put their contact information in there, and then I tag them as an MCTT, and they get 3 welcome emails from me, and I don't have to do anything. It's just automatically happens. It's a smart plan that triggers, it does its thing, and then it turns itself off.
Yeah, and if you wanted to do that without having the tag trigger, it's really easy on your mobile app, because you get notified in Kelly when a lead comes in from a Facebook ad, and you just open it up, follow the prompt, hit add to smart plan. You've created a Facebook ad smart plan ahead of time. You add them to that smart plan and hit confirm, and off you go within 5 minutes of them responding to your Facebook ad. It's a really seamless process on your mobile app. You don't have to be in front of your desktop all the time to work with these smart plans and with leads. It's really easy.
I like that. I like that a lot. So are you doing that? Is it through Kelly, or are you doing it through just like command in a browser?
Well, you know, if I'm home in front of my desktop, it's all from on my desktop. But if I'm out and about, I'm all a fan of speed to lead. So if I'm in my car, or I'm in an appointment or something, and I get notified in the notifications bell that somebody asked for more information from a Facebook ad that I did on an open house or on a listing of mine, I then could very quickly, boom, 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 add them to the smart plan, and it triggers them to get my text, my email, and they're off and running. And so it's a blend of both. In other words, to answer your question, depends on where I am and what I'm doing. The main thing is do it fast.
Yep. Speed to lead is a very big thing if you're doing internet leads of any kind. What do they say? It's like 30 seconds, a minute. I mean, it's pretty short.
And you know, you get notified within a minute in the bell notification on Kelly, and you can respond within 2 minutes if you work quick.
Absolutely.
You have to have those smart plans set up ahead of time, though. I mean, that's the thing. You have to have them set up, your steps and all that stuff, and have it just ready to go when you're doing it with any kind of open house or a new listing ad on Facebook.
Yep. And there are people who already have some smart plans in there. If you're new to doing that particular piece, that you may be able to use as a starting point.
That's right. Just go to some of the Facebook groups on KW Command and put the question out there. I'm looking for a smart plan on Facebook lead follow-up, and boom, you'll get about 5 of them from people that are in the group. And so it's really easy to find pre-existing smart plans, modify them a little bit on how many steps you want them to be, and there you go. It's really simple.
I love it. Okay, so one thing that every single person in here needs is to have themselves in their database. So if you don't have yourself in your database, we're going to add ourselves in our database. You'll want to go over to, and actually let me go back to show you the steps there. So of course, click on the KW in the corner so you can see the little flyout if you're not familiar with the icons yet. And click on contacts, and it'll bring you into your contacts applet. And if you don't have yourself in, add a contact. Just go ahead and put the bare minimum information you need in there, because we're gonna add yourself to a smart plan so that you can start getting this information. So I'm actually already in my database smart plan, so I'm just going to show you guys the steps on this. Put your, you know, of course, your first name, put the email that you prefer, phone number, and then down here at the bottom, click the add additional information, and under additional contact information, put your street address in. This is going to help with the neighborhood nurture portion so that it can assign you the neighborhood and you can start getting information.
I must say this is super important. I put myself on every single smart plan I have. I want to see what my people are seeing. And if I don't like it, I edit it. And that's the only way I knew that the neighborhood nurtures were not going out in December and January, because I wasn't getting them myself. And that alerted me that there was a glitch and a bug. They eventually worked it out.
Yeah, they were able to get that cleared up. So once you're done filling that out, make sure the information is correct. You hit create, and then I'm gonna skip over to the cake that's been made, so to speak. So I'm gonna skip over to my actual, and oh, I didn't put my home address in this actually. Aha, I have myself in, but I don't have myself an address. So let me do that real quick. Okay. Now, by the way, guys, any of the, and this is just a general command thing. Command has lookup fields that, I guess what I'm trying to say is they validate against Google. If you ever have an address that doesn't show up, that can be fixed with Google, and it's really not that difficult. You can go into Google Maps, you can find the location on the map, and you can say add missing address, and they will update that. So just a side note, FYI, if you have like a new construction or something they haven't mapped yet, it's very easy to fix. Okay.
What does the lead source type mean and how important is that?
It's really depends on how you're going to use it. So if you're taking ads from Facebook, you may want to add that it was from Facebook ads, and you can add lead sources on the back end, just like you can do with tags and things like that. So it's totally up to what you're going to use it for. And some people like to do it to at the end of the year, throughout the year, go, okay, so I'm saying I'm getting this many leads from Realtor, am I? Or I'm saying I'm getting this much business from Inner XYZ, Brivity, Boomtown, whatever. It's just for you to be able to keep track of that.
So Patrick, you're saying you can update those lead sources. There's a place to customize those.
Yeah, you can go into any contact card later and update the contact cards piece. And then if you want to add a new lead source that isn't currently in there, it's in the settings. You can go in and add lead sources. So yes.
Patrick, I have a question.
Yeah.
Quick question. So I have some out-of-town people in my database. I can set them up on this monthly nurture too. It'll still pick up information for them.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And so another cool thing about this neighborhood nurture, yes, you can set them up, your out-of-town people, but let's say that you've got somebody here in town that has been getting these neighborhood nurtures for a while, and they start thinking about moving out of town. They can add neighborhoods. They can start following new neighborhoods on their nurture, and it will update you that they have added those in there. And you can, then that could potentially be a referral conversation like, oh, you guys are ready to sell, and I can connect you with a great agent in, Lake Tahoe or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So you see here in the contact card, I added an address to this contact card of mine. I have another contact card. I forgot it's under my full middle name, and so that's why it didn't show up. I added the address, and now you can see that there is a neighborhood here. And so neighborhood nurture does not work without a neighborhood. And essentially, neighborhoods are data that was pulled over from Nextdoor that just have geographical lines so that it can compare that against MLS data and give them information about a particular area. I hear that a lot of you guys neighborhood nurtures are working well. Some people say neighborhood nurtures don't work exactly the way that they want them to, because maybe it's a more of a rural area. Maybe it's an area that Nextdoor doesn't really collect any data, or maybe the neighborhoods didn't want Nextdoor to be part of it. There are some caveats to that. We won't cover that piece today. However, if that is the case, feel free to reach out to me, and I will be sure to show you how to do save searches for those people. It's not terribly difficult to do, but there are some use cases where neighborhood nurtures don't work out quite as well.
For the most part of Metro Atlanta, the neighborhoods are in there. I haven't had any that weren't, unless it was a new construction development, that was created out of nothing. It's not in there yet. But given today's inventory situation, you have some neighborhoods where there's no inventory. The nurture goes out, but there's nothing in there as to. So
yeah, that's a challenge. Go get some listings. That's what that's about. Go take some listings.
Yeah.
Rick, and I'll ask you this, and Patrick too. I know that basically, I know when Anna Kay talked about the neighborhood nurture, she said that it didn't matter that we have duplicate information throughout all of Atlanta. We have duplicate. Have you found that to be the case?
Yes, there's duplicate, but you know what? It really doesn't matter that much. I haven't had anybody ask me about it. And I'm a market stats guy, so it bugged me, but it didn't bug anybody else, right? And so I started looking at it a little bit differently. It's not really there are some people that may look at it, but the fact is they're getting something from me, right? And that's the most important thing. So I had to get my head around that first, that it was the touch that mattered and the name recognition that mattered. And whether there were double listings in there didn't really matter that much. It bugged me, but nobody else.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And that's a common question, especially for you guys with FMLS and all that kind of stuff. Y'all are in one of those unique cities that have major overlapping MLSs, not just little areas. I mean, huge areas that overlap. So, all right. So Cross Creek's a neighborhood that's in here. That's a neighborhood I actually live in. So if you guys want to come visit me in Pelham, Alabama, and have fun, there's nothing there. There's an amphitheater. It's great. They have big concerts. However, that I would want information about my neighborhood from my neighborhood nurture. So if a neighborhood nurture was being sent to me, Patrick, this contact, what I would see, and you can look at this for any of your people, if you're just curious what they're getting, there is a preview down here. When you hit preview, it's going to show you what that neighborhood nurture is going to send them to. And so the thing to know about the way these neighborhood nurtures work is I clicked on preview. There was also a thing called copy link. Copy link is going to be the actual link that they get. Preview is something a little different. And the reason why is because if I go to the link that they get, it's now going to tell me in their timeline that they looked at that particular neighborhood. So you can see in the top of the timeline, it says neighborhood viewed. That's the kind of notification you're going to get if they open the neighborhood nurture email and click on the link. So these are the sorts of things you're going to be looking for the activity. The cool thing about that is we can heart houses, we can go look at houses, and it will give you information about that as well as the agent. It may not update immediately, but yeah, there we go. You can see favorited listing, 712 Cross Creek Trail. This is great information for you guys, especially if you're trying to push somebody over the edge. I mean, there are a lot of voyeurs out there. A lot of people do like to just go look at houses. However, there are people that are like, when they start looking at enough houses, they probably are getting interested. So it's a great prompt. And this all comes through neighborhood nurture. So to set them up on that, and this is on the individual contact basis. On the other side, when we were where you had the whole list of smart plans, you can add them by tags, you can add them by individual, but this is where you would add them inside the contact card. So I'll show you that here in a second, Jen. Yeah, hang on a second. I'll show you a way that you can see what activity, who's active and who's not. It won't necessarily tell you neighborhood nurture, but it'll tell you if they've been active on your website, your app, those sorts of things, including neighborhood nurture. So the smart plans that are in here, these smart plans are going to be the ones that you've downloaded. So I've got the biweekly in here already. You can look at the steps if you want to again, but by this point you probably know what they are. You can select, We want to start him on that neighborhood nurture now. You can hit confirm. We had the other smart plans that we talked about, like quarterly call plan, and then of course birthday reminders. And so we're going to hit add smart plan. We're going to say quarterly call. The steps on this one are real simple. You give them a phone call today, you wait 90 days, you do it again. You can bulk add people to the quarterly call plans, but I would be very careful doing that. Is there a way to edit or customize the name of the neighborhood nurture email? There isn't a whole lot of customization on the actual neighborhood nurture email at this point. It's just you, it's the neighborhood nurture email. And actually, hang on a second. Let me find you guys an example. I believe I've got one in one of my email accounts right now that I can show you what it looks like when it comes in. Your neighborhood update. Yeah, here we go. So there we go. Actually, I just got one. So it just says bi-weekly neighborhood update. And when you click on it, it's going to have your marketing profile information, which is another reason that we made sure that that was correct. And then it's going to have information about the neighborhood. And actually, this is on one of my other contact cards. So this is different than the one I just showed you guys, but it still works. And so let's say I wanted to look at those houses. It's going to pull back up that page. And you can see I've got a bunch of neighborhoods actually selected at this point.
Patrick, what I noticed on that, I have myself on several neighborhoods, and even though I selected a primary, the primary neighborhood is not what comes up first on the neighborhood trends. It happens to be, I think, the order in which you, yes, it's the order in which you added their neighborhoods.
Okay.
Is how it comes up, just so in case somebody wants to know, because I expected my primary to come up first and it doesn't.
Okay, that's good to know. I was not 100% on how that particular piece worked. Bulk adding neighborhoods, that is a feature request we have in. At this point, you can't. However, if you have somebody's address, then you can tag them for that neighborhood. It'll tag them automatically, or you can go in and manually select the neighborhood. So we could say add neighborhood. We could, to me, find on map really works the best. So let's just say it was, let's see map. Yeah, and if we were just picking somewhere in Atlanta, maybe I didn't know the exact name of the neighborhood, but I knew kind of where it was at. I'm just going to pick a neighborhood. You could find it on the map, and you can select multiples as well if it's in an area. Now that may or may not work based on price point, because sometimes you'll have neighborhoods that are butted up next to each other. It'll be $500,000 houses and then $150,000 houses. However, you guys know your market best on that.
Hey, Patrick, can I answer Jen's question?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think what she's asking, you have to set up every individual with their own neighborhood, right? And then you can bulk add them to a neighborhood nurture smart test plan.
Can you show me
yes.
that? That's what I want to see.
Okay, yeah.
Say that again.
You have to add the neighborhood to every individual contact individually. But once you've got that done and you want them all to go on that particular neighborhood nurture, you can bulk add all those contacts in Avondale estates that you want to be in the neighborhood nurture.
Yep. They just have to have the neighborhood added to the contact card already.
You got to do those one at a time, but you can
So
bulk
if you
add.
have that, you can go in and like go through your tags and.
Yeah,
how do
I'll
do
show
that?
you, Chad. I'll show you.
Thank you.
Hey, we're all learning here, right?
Well, this is something I'm running into. I have a main neighborhood or primary neighborhood for myself.
Mhm.
And when I try to add neighborhoods that I may be interested in, it does not find it's not finding Decatur, which is just right, not that far from me. It's not finding Tucker. That's not far.
Look at it from the map view.
Okay.
on that. I do find map if I can't find a neighborhood. There's some neighborhoods for some reason when you do a search, it wants to grab a city and maybe it's not associated with it, which I mean, I think, you know, Decatur is, but like, I've found that sometimes it doesn't quite want to come up, but I can find it on the map. And you just, wherever it is that you're looking, you just would scroll in. So like, let's see, there's Decatur. Yeah, so like if it was a particular neighborhood, it's broken up into several. That may be why it's doing it, or there may be other Decaturs it's trying to pull.
Okay.
So if I can't find it, I always go to map view.
Oh, I see. And then you have to click on it. That's what it's, I
Yes.
thought I would, okay, I'm with you. Gotcha.
Yeah, and you
Thank
can select as
Perfect.
many as you want. So maybe it's a geographical area more of that covers like 6 neighborhoods. You can click on all 6 of them. So
Perfect. Thank you.
yeah. All right, is this good? I'm just making sure we getting some value out of this.
And if they don't, so if there's not a neighborhood that's designated in the map area, you can draw,
Mhm.
can you draw it on there? Like,
You cannot, not at this point. You can do a saved search for that person. That is the solution on it. But
Right, you
that's
said
something
that.
outside
Right.
of smart plans.
okay,
Yep.
Patrick,
Yeah.
one more clarification on the what neighborhood people are in. Once you put their address in there, doesn't that define what neighborhood they're in?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't
You have
understand.
their address. Yes.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. It does.
Okay,
Yeah. So if you've got like a past seller or a past buyer list, you know, where they're all living now, you could do an import with those addresses and it's going to automatically set them up with that neighborhood and you don't have to go in and do that.
okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Birthday smart plan. You can see I tried to save it there. It said, please add birthday before subscribing. So I don't have a birthday. I was never born. I was not here. And then of course, home anniversary is going to do the same thing, which, hang on a second. Do I not have that one saved? So do you guys feel like you kind of have a handle on the basic smart plans? We can go over to how you would add and create your own smart plans. Y'all have any more questions around this?
no.
Okay. Are we feeling good? We feeling okay? Do we have any anxiety? Are we excited?
Did you say, you can import, you know, a VCA or an Excel spreadsheet of contacts for
CSV,
old
yep.
buyers?
CSV.
Yep.
Easy peasy?
And-
Okay, cool.
And actually, I got some really good news on that. And I'm sure since I can tell Rick's been in this for a minute. He'll probably be excited about this one. Is on the contact import,
Mhm.
they are adding matching fields, so you don't have to use the what's it called list anymore. You don't have to use templates. It is not in yet, but it is coming.
Nice.
So you would be able.
That's good news. I mean, for those of us that imported things from eEdge 2 years ago, it worked well then. It works well. You just have to fiddle around with it.
Yep.
Okay.
You have to get the which actually I'll digress for a second, show you where it's at. So under contacts, if you go to import, there is a template file that you have to download. So it says download the pre-made CSV. When you download this, it has to remain a CSV file. You can't turn it into an Excel file or something else. And everything has to remain in exactly the same columns. If they don't, when you import, it'll kick back errors. So it's a little particular. It's not terribly difficult, but it is
It won't match.
it's
them.
particular. It's persnickety. Yeah. And because there's some nuance with birthdays and things like that if you don't have them correct. Now, if you do decide to do an import and for some reason it does not go through, Command gives you a log of this. You can see that I failed on an import the other day. And if you actually click on that, it'll give you the CSV file of the fail and it'll tell you why they failed. So it's pretty clear about what messed up. It's just, it can take a little bit of work if you're loading a big database. So like I had some duplicate contacts in there, some email addresses that have been used more than once. So anyway. All right.
Patrick, two things on that for other people. Just a reminder that Scott Leroy will do that for you for free. The second thing is I did hear a class recently that the best thing you can do is go ahead and download whatever your database is or wherever it's coming from, even if it's your Google contacts, clean it up first so you get rid of those duplicates and everything. Then try to put it into the CSV format. So you copy and paste stuff into it. Patrick, one of the things I was going to ask you about that is, so you can't take that CSV, change it to an Excel, and then save it back as a CSV. It won't.
I wouldn't, because there's some format stuff that can sometimes get copied over. I fought with the team's database a couple weeks ago. It took us all day going, and finally we figured, like, we had to take it into Google Sheets, and we had to do a thing where we changed it to text only, and it was not easy to fix.
Okay.
But like, we figured it out. It's doable. It just it's easier if it stays in a CSV. Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say that, so thank you. That is one clue I've never heard in any training. People say keep it as a CSV.
Yeah, it's it reduces the chance for error. I'll put it that way. There's still always there's things that just happen. I mean, databases are funny. That's all there is to it. Okay, cool. Well, let's make a smart plan. We did the basic ones. We make sure you guys had your basic stuff set up, and let's go in here and let's make a smart plan. So smart plans kind of do a few different things. They do automation, but they also give you reminders. So hang on a second. Let's see my tasks today. Do I have any tasks today? No, I have a completed one. So I made a follow-up smart plan that essentially, after I have somebody with a critical issue, I tag that particular person with that smart plan. 7 days later, it tells me to reach back out to them. And then 7 days later, it tells me to reach back out to them again. So real simple smart plan, made it myself, not super complicated. Smart plans can send emails, they can send text messages, they can give you reminders, they can tell you to make a phone call. They can do a lot of different things, but essentially it's for those things that you're probably just going to forget because you guys are busy. I mean, real estate's the business is bananas, especially right now. Good, bad, or ugly, it's a crazy business to be in. So you're going to want to go to the Smart Plans applet, and we'll get started from there. And we're going to make a simple smart plan. Let's just say open house follow-up. And I'm just doing this basically to show you guys the steps. All the steps that we're actually putting into this, you can change them out for whatever you would like and what makes sense. This is just, I want you guys to understand how the different pieces work. So smart plans are kind of like Lego blocks. You have your different Lego blocks, and so let's make something with Lego blocks, even if it's not the prettiest little spaceship or castle or whatever. So, or house. You hit apply. Oh, it says it wants a custom name. Apparently, I guess I already have one. Name that. Okay. So over here on your right, you're going to see your are going to be your different building blocks. So you've got create task, you got make a call. Those are manual things. You have send email. That's an automated piece. You have send text. That is an automated piece as well. You have set delay. That's automated. Add to smart plan and restart smart plan. So if you want it to be an infinite plan, you're going to want to always get to the bottom of your plan and then restart it, and then get to the bottom of it and have it restart. But not all smart plans are supposed to be infinite. If you get a Facebook lead, you're not going to probably put them on the same smart plan for the next 3 years. So it just really depends on what you're doing. And so let's say that this was an open house, like we said. So maybe you want to send people a text afterwards. We could do our first step. We could say send text. And you could say in the text, you could say like, hi. And if you notice this little thing right here that looks like kind of like little brackets with an F inside of it, these are called tokens, and they pull from different pieces of data on the contact card. So we could say, We could say contact first name. So, hi, person, it was so great to see you at the open house today. Thanks for stopping by. What did you think about the property? This could be something, just a conversation start. Maybe you're not trying to go, directly for sale. You're just trying to start a conversation and get it headed in that direction.
Can these be used as like if you don't have a Twilio account, can you still have this task and then just, use it in your own email? I mean,
yeah,
text.
you could create a task, and instead of doing send text, you could say create task, and you could just put in there to text message them.
I see.
Yeah. So the task is kind of your catch-all.
Right.
Patrick, how did you get the name in there again? I was on my own screen.
No, you're fine. So right here, they call it merge fields. Sometimes you will see CRMs call it a token, but essentially it's down here, the little F, you click on it and it'll give you the different data points, I guess, from the contact card you can use to fill in to this text, or if it was an email. It's kind of like a mail merge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when you add a contact to a smart plan, it picks up that field in the contact and it automatically dumps it into that field that you were just talking about.
Yep. And so like in an open house follow-up, if you're going to do a text, well, then of course that means if you've got people stopping by the open house, you're probably going to want to collect their phone numbers and emails and stuff like that so that you can follow up with them through this.
Just back to that thing about texting. If you have a text as part of your smart plan, it's not going to text from your cell phone number.
Mm-hmm.
It's a prompt for you to text them, but it's not going to automatically send a text to them for you unless you have Twilio.
That is correct. Yeah. Other cool things, some people like emojis. A lot of people like emojis. So you got that function in there, of course. Make sure to abide by the TCPA. You probably want to get something to say that they're not on the do not call list. It is like $2,000 for a text message and $43,200 for a phone call. So you do not want to get in trouble with that. Your market center can help you get access to that as well. Okay, so next step. Let's say we wait a day. So we text them, we wait a day, we send an email. There's a couple different ways you can do emails inside of command. At this point, the email creator inside command is, in my opinion, a little lackluster. And so if you have something outside, you can use, I believe you can use Canva. I believe I've been using something called befree.io. There's MailChimp. There's different ways to create HTML-rich emails that have like pictures and like really pretty text and formatting. And then you can upload those into, what's it called? You can upload those. And actually, I'm gonna drop you guys a link real quick. Keller Williams. I made a video on how to do the HTML-rich emails. So if you guys want to save, and actually, hang on, let's get back to chat. I will dump it in the chat if you want to bookmark that. You can create those really pretty looking emails and bring them into designs, and then from inside here, you can connect them to your smart plan. So emails go out in command only two ways right now. They're eventually going to work on having like an email client built into command where you can just basically do it like you would through Gmail. It's not quite there yet. It's on the feature list. And so it can either be sent out through campaigns or it can be sent out through smart plans. Either way, you have to have created the email in designs first if you want it to be a pretty email. So I already had created something in Designs before. I'll just say select Designs, and I'll go to My Designs library. And so let's say this was an email update I had created. I could preview what this thing looks like. See, it's got nice formatting, got pictures, links, all that kind of great stuff in it. And I can actually select that. You can make edits to it from in here. However, it can mess with the formatting some. So I try to make sure that when I bring it in, it's correct ahead of time. And then we can hit save. And now that email is actually part of the smart plan. So day one, actually, as soon as I add them to a smart plan, not even day one, as soon as they're on the smart plan, instantly they're going to get that text if you have Twilio set up. Next thing that's going to happen is going to wait a day, and then we're going to send them this email.
How did you put in this time space? You know, the delay?
Yeah, so it's one of the Lego blocks on the right. It's just called set delay. If you click on that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, you're fine. And it can go up to 30 days. If you need it to be more than 30 days for whatever reason, I don't think you can put two delays. You can, okay. You can put two delays next to each other, but each delay block only has a maximum of 30 days. So then we could set like another day, and then maybe you're gonna make a phone call. If you had a script you were running by, maybe you wanted to remind yourself what that script is, you can actually copy and paste that into your description so that when the task comes up, all you have to do is just read it right off your screen if you wanted to. Maybe this wouldn't work for an open house, but maybe you wanted to take somebody a bottle of wine or something. You could always put a task like that in there. Like, you know, you met with a seller, they didn't sign, you wanted to go by and do some other touches, whatever it may be. You can use your tasks for anything you want. And then maybe we wait another day and we take another action. Is this making sense, guys? So how do you think you could use this in your business? Give me some ideas here.
Well, I remember going through this before, and it looked like I started these plans but never finished them, which was an invitation to my Pies and Pints giveaway and holiday party that I do. So
I like that.
Patrick?
Yeah.
I use it for three things, basically. Open house follow-up. I use it when people respond to social media ads I put on Facebook. And I use it when people register for my home buyer and home seller monthly webinars so that I get them into a smart plan as soon as possible without waiting until they actually attend the webinar.
I like that. I like that. So you can kind of use them. I know this is a little open-ended. You can use them however you would like to use them. Follow-up is probably one of the best things for your long-term follow-up and also for your near-term follow-up. Like I said, for when new Market Center tech trainers come on board, I have a smart plan that I tag them as a Market Center tech trainer, and then they receive 3 emails from me over the next couple weeks. It was materials I needed to send out to them anyway, and it made it way easier than me having to go, okay, hang on a second, let me go into Gmail, let me grab my canned emails. What was it? Email 1. Let me send that to them. And oh, well, let me load the other one and then set that on a timer. It just makes it where all I had to do was tag them with MCTT. One thing to note though, guys, and this is the same for any email provider. So MailChimp, Emma, Constant Contact, any of those, if people have email, there is a chance they will go under updates or promotions. So let's say you have a new buyer you're working with and you wanted to use this as an engine to send out your initial information on like, hey, now that you're working with me, here's the 5 things you can expect. I mean, whatever those things may be, you may want to let them know that they could be in those folders. Otherwise, they may go, well, I never received that email. Does that make sense?
So Patrick, I use them for a couple things. Number one is the monthly neighborhood nurture, the touch, the 12 direct touch in that respect. I'm using it for the lead up to a client event. Like for instance, we're going to have a shredding party, a socially distant shredding party with a shredding truck in my driveway in May. So I have 2 months now to put people on my client database, put people on a smart plan to prompt them to save the date. It's coming in a month, so on and so forth. So there's at least about 4 touches that are going to be on that smart plan leading up to a client event. And then the last thing is a more short-term post-closing follow-up plan. A call to see is everything okay. You know, I think there's about 4 touches over the course of the first couple months after they close that I'm staying in close contact with them. And then after that, they then transition into the longer term touch campaigns that we have. So it's the same process that we had with the touch campaigns with eEdge. The terminology is different. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
So our thinking just needs to migrate over to how do I do this with Command like I did it with eEdge or with Follow Up Boss or whatever other programs I may have used. It's just terminology and thinking about how I want to communicate with my people over the course of a period of time between transactions, like Jay and Papazana and Gary talked about at Family Reunion. There's the time period during the transaction, right after the transaction, and then between transactions. And so these smart plans can serve a purpose in any one of those areas of our communication, automated communication with our clients.
Absolutely, 100%. I completely agree. Any ahas, guys? Any things that you didn't think about before that you did today?
Not an aha, Patrick, but you've given me the confidence to go put these into play.
Well, that makes my heart big because that's what I love hearing. That's what I love hearing. It's not that complicated. It really isn't. It just takes doing. And always test it out on yourself. That's one big takeaway from me. Sometimes people get frustrated with smart plans because it will do something that they didn't expect it to, and usually they didn't test it on themselves first. So I love being my own guinea pig, if that makes any sense.
I think that's really true. And if you use somebody else's smart plan and copy and paste it, you need to have it go to yourself first, because you need to have that filter and say, does this sound like me? You have to put it in your own voice as to what you want the text or email to sound like. So and any ones that I've gotten from other people, I've made sure it was my voice and it sounded like me.
Absolutely.
Also, something that I've found when you import from other people's libraries, that token in the merge field, you need to delete theirs, replace it with yours, because I've had it send the actual brackets that say first name in it.
That's interesting. And that is a great thing to know. I definitely know that's not operating as intended. I'm going to make a note about that one. So it's the merge tag. It's just putting text instead of actual data.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Patrick, this is Drew. Could I ask a related question that I'm just, if I have the opportunity to ask it now, it'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Command under contacts, I do notice that it seems to vacuum in my Gmail email communication with these people. Is that pretty reliable? It doesn't really show much. All it ever does is show an email subject line and then a view email link. Is that getting my in and my out? Because in another group that I'm here in within our office, we've been trying sync out, and that's like an incredibly robust CRM. What's your sense of whether this email, like, is this a reliable thing to use?
So it depends on what you're using it for. So the main purpose to me that it functions within this is if you're working with a client actively, you can find a communication decently quick, or you can see when is the last time I contacted somebody. And so coming back to this, and it'll do both things in that. So I'm trying to find a good example, somebody that I have communicated with recently that's in my database that is also in my Gmail. So for example, this last contacted column, this is going to be based on a few different criteria, including emails that went out. So let's see. That shows a neighborhood actually. Hang on a second. Trying to find a good example so I can well, Joel, I talked to Joel the other day. Okay, so so Joel, that command question, he had a question for me, and I think that it is including every email in the thread that I received. I don't know if it's got my cents. That's a really good question. Which one is it going to take me to? Now that was my sent. So it's doing my sends and receives. There will be emails that pop up in there, and this is a little misleading, and some of the things that they're going to work on with the overall command experience is like smart plans will say view email. When you click on it, you can't see the email. It's a little confusing. The only emails you're going to be able to see is one that came from your Gmail account that is connected to command. You're not going to be able to see what the neighborhood nurture email directly through that. And you're not going to be able to see campaign emails directly through that. So they're working on cleaning that up. It was just kind of a view email. These will take you to your Gmail account. So you can't email directly from inside of here. That may be something that comes later. I don't know if Sync offers that, but it'll at least help you go, okay, well, I had a communication with them outside of command 10 days ago, and I know that I had this. Or I've been working with them. I cannot find an email. Where was it? I know we talked about it X number of days ago or last year. And if this ever gets disconnected, so like if I were to disconnect my Gmail account right now, all these would disappear from my timeline. And if I reconnected my Gmail, all of them would reappear. So that's something to note. They don't actually get saved in this timeline. They're basically pulled every time you open the contact card.
Great, thank you, Patrick.
All right, you're welcome.
Patrick, on that sync, or if we used PySync, is there any way, like I had it on, then I turned it off because I didn't want everything under the sun going in there.
Yep.
Are there certain ways to just say those are the database, or I didn't want everybody added in, via PySync. Like I got 3,000 contacts. I only wanted maybe 250.
Yeah, I'm always cautious about people that are like, oh, I want to use PySync and have it all sync, because I think the misunderstanding is that it makes things easier. In many cases, it can make them harder. My opinion on PySync most of the time is a one-time import for most sources, and then after that, you clean up your database. It really depends on the data source. The other day, I was watching one of our RTTs was helping one of our tech trainers here in the region connect Brevity to PySync, and this particular person had 11,000 contacts to pull over. And we were able to do some really crazy granular settings on it. And by the time it was done, they only had about 500 contacts, and it was the 500 contacts they wanted. So there's a lot of options with PySync. It just, it takes a little diving into, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that exactly answered your question.
Well, it did. I mean, we were instructed a long time ago to do it, and then I heard recently not to do it because of these issues. But I know even though I have Gmail connected, all of my emails to certain people in my database are not showing up in my database. They're not showing up in command.
So it's like, are they new contacts or old contacts or?
They've been around a while.
Okay.
I mean, months, not weeks.
Yeah, we'd have to dig deeper into that because there's a lot of settings with PySync. I mean, there's a lot of settings. Now, if you really are wanting all your email contact your Google contacts to come into command through PieSync?
No.
Okay. I mean, it's doable.
First. Yeah.
I just don't know if it's advisable. I'm one of those people. I'm kind of backwards on some of the database stuff. Like I think it's great to have a large database, yet at the same time, I think it's more important to follow up with a smaller group of people with better frequency and communication. So
Yeah.
like people are like, oh, I have 10,000 people in my database. I'm like, how do you know 10,000 people?
Right.
I mean, there's a couple of MREA teams I know that don't even have 1,000 people in their database. And it's because they reach out with frequency and intensity with the 1,000 people they have. So birthday smart plan. Yeah, hang on a second. I'll show you so you make sure. It's the KWI one. Don't use the other birthday plans because for whatever reason, they do not reference birthdays. So you go into the library and we can just type birthday. And it's going to be the one that's by Keller Williams is the author. Well, hey, we did pretty well, guys, and we even got a few more minutes to spare. Do y'all have any other questions? It doesn't necessarily have to be about smart plans while you have me.
Patrick, I did test one thing. I sent a link to share my app.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to send it to my wife, and when she got to it, there was no way to find Decatur, Georgia. It came up with Decatur and another state. Pennsylvania or something like that.
She couldn't find the city?
Yeah. She said it doesn't offer Decatur, Georgia for agent location. It had Decatur, PA twice instead of having Decatur, GA and Decatur.
Did
PA.
Well, the first thing to ask, was it branded to you? Did that work?
I'll double check that.
Okay. Because it should use location services to get close to where you're at, and it should pick up Decatur, Georgia first before like Decatur, Alabama or something like that,
Right.
Based on location services. So
I'm looking right now I'm searching in mine, and the cities, when you type in Decatur, it comes Decatur, Alabama, Decatur, Illinois, and Decatur, PA.
all right, let me give that a shot.
Oh, and then it says Decatur City Schools, Atlanta, Georgia, Decatur City Schools, Decatur, Alabama, Decatur County.
Yeah, I had to type in Decatur, GA for it to populate.
There may just be too many options for that particular. Yeah, because it comes up for me if I do Decatur, GA.
Yeah, it only comes up if you do Decatur, GA.
Yeah. Let's see.
But it's a city, so it should come up under cities if they enter all cities.
Well, when it was on my screen, when my location was like it was within the view of my map, and I typed Decatur in, it worked.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like a city to choose.
Yeah, well, it worked when I did it like that, but it was because Decatur was in my map view already.
Yeah.
I wonder if it just has, because there may just be a lot of different options on that. Oh my gosh. Let's see.
Yeah, but who would know to put in Decatur, GA necessarily? I mean,
what were you stuck on, Jen? I'm sorry. I just saw your chat.
I'll get back to you. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, I just missed the app stuff because I was running around with Sean trying to figure it out. So I can just get with you later on that because I don't know. I can get with you later on that. I don't ever want to start over again.
Okay. All right.
I don't use the app anymore, and I used to share it with clients all the time until they changed it. So now it's a tool that I know I'm missing, and
like
I love it.
The old one, like when Smarter Agent, when it was a red one, and like that far back, or yeah.
Just whatever it was before this, and we had to it was it last year at Home Family Reunion or the year before? It's like, oh, we've got the new app, and then it's just not. I don't have that tool anymore. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Jen, you can always Google Scott Leroy, and there's a little app on how to share your app. There's a little video.
Yeah, I'm not good at videos.
Well, I will be happy. Look, you just any of you guys that are on this call today, my email is patrickmauldin@kw.com. You guys feel free to reach out to me. I will get back with you. I'm usually pretty quick about getting back with people. And if we have to set something up, if you're really having a challenge with something, I'll be happy to help out. And if it's a bunch of y'all needing a similar thing, then maybe we'll just all get on we'll do something like this again, and we'll just all get on and work together. So, yep. Let me share one other thing with you guys. I'm gonna toss it down in the chat. It's basically for me to keep myself honest, just an evaluation. If you guys got value out of this today, I want to make sure that I'm providing the most amount of value I can for you and your time. And so if you just essentially leave me a review, and I would appreciate it.
Patrick, I really appreciate this, Stan. This is somewhat how-to, but it's also more about strategy, which I think is, we do have a lot of Scott Leroy how-to, but what is missing sometimes is strategy. Like, I took a class on strategy of tags, because that really does make a difference. So that would be the one thing that I would tell you is, yeah, you can direct some people to some of the better how-to videos that are out there, but the strategy of why should you do this?
Absolutely.
I think really becomes then that gives us the reason to go do it.
Yep. Well, what is it? Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act, and the strategy gets you in that emotion because you go, okay, this is going to get me the result I want. So, absolutely.
Hey, Patrick, I'm looking at your survey, and you have the ratings from 1 to 5, with which one is high and which one is low. You don't have that on there that I can see.
Okay, 5 is high. Sorry, guys. This is so this is the first time I've used this. I made this form a few days ago, and I should have said what it meant. 5 is good. So probably should have put that one on top.
That's okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, I got feedback on my
because they're all different. They're all different.
Hey, Patrick, I have one more question. Sorry, I've had a lot. So for smart plans and like eEdge, everyone was talking about, like there was that newsletter that went out. So how do we do that on here? Or is that like another topic class?
That would be, that would fall under another topic partly. However, you could do it with campaigns or smart plans. You would have to create the emails. There are a lot of pre-made emails inside of Command, inside Designs already.
Okay.
However, they're working on making that library a little more robust. To be honest, most of it seems to be focused on luxury right now. So you could always go through Designs and find some, they've got have y'all checked out the magazine? I think they call it a Zine in there because they ran out of letter space, but they've got like a little custom magazine.
Today, yeah,
You could take like information out of that and put them in like HTML emails and send them out as smart plans.
Okay, so, cool.
Yeah, that's one way you can handle that.
Perfect. Now,
just a funny clarity is that so eEdge would never tell KW what the results were of those emails. I know it was something for us to send, and we didn't have much other options. However, I've always asked myself, like, how effective are these actually? And so we have a lot more data on this than we did on the eEdge stuff. Like even your emails that come back on Command, you can at least look at the open rates. So anyway, I don't know. Just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Last question, Patrick.
Yeah.
Have you noticed I played?
No, sorry, you're over your question limit. Sorry,
I played with this, and I didn't know if anybody else has played with it, but because I always wondered how it would work. If someone goes into your app and says they like this property and they want to set up a tour, because it says you can do it at all hours of the day and night, and I kept thinking, well, how do they set that up? And so I did that. And so the weird thing was I sort of expected an email from my system to me, my KW email address, saying Laura has requested a tour of XYZ Main Street, 123 Main. I didn't get that. What I got is an email back to me as the person who set up the tour, my pretend buyer, that said, oh, I see you've requested a tour. Here's a link to keep searching while just in case you want to check out other places. So I had to go into my contact to see. I never got any kind of action notification to tell me that this person set up a tour.
You get a you should get a push notification if you have. So Kelly, for the good and bad things, Kelly is, and this year it's getting replaced by Command Mobile, by the way, and they're changing a lot of stuff in it. So it's going to be a completely new app. It's going to be functional. Let's just be honest. It had some challenges. The one thing Kelly can do is it works as a really good notification engine for Command. So if you get those sort of notifications inside Command, you will get a push on your phone saying so-and-so has requested to see a property, and then you can call them. So that's what that would do.
I didn't get it, and I just tried it this week. So so it is not currently, just for anybody to know, it's not currently doing that.
That may be on a case-by-case thing. That may have not been there. I would need more information to say that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's designed to work. You get that email and you get a push notification, and it shows up in the contact cards timeline as well.
Yeah, I only saw it in the contact cards timeline because I went to my timeline to go look for it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But it takes a lot to know.
Patrick, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I think I may have messed up. I thought I downloaded the wrong birthday smart plan and I deleted it, and it gave me that warning, and now I'm trying to download the KW one and it's not allowing me, so I may have deleted it. Does that mean it's gone forever?
No, hang on a second. Let me let's see. Sue. Okay, so back in Smart Plans, we go into the library, we go to, well, you would go to My Smart Plans first. So you don't have it under My Smart Plans, the birthday is gone?
Hang on. My Smart Plans. I do have my birthday, but I don't think it's the KW version.
Okay, delete that one anyway. So just go over the little 3 dots and trash it.
Delete.
Or I think it actually says delete, it doesn't have trash. Yeah.
But then it warns me. That's what got me scared.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay.
It'll be okay, I promise you.
Okay. Oh, because that was there, that wouldn't let me download the new one? Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because it had the same name, and my gosh, the sun in this. I'm gonna have to rethink this office in the afternoon for doing something. I feel like I'm sitting on the surface of the sun right now.
You're right, that fixed it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, you're welcome. Well, anything else, guys? If not, we'll call it a day, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. It was a great class. Really appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank
Patrick.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's my
so
pleasure.
much.
It was good hanging out with you guys for a while. We should do it again